Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to Extravagant Fragrances. Give me a second. I need some light in this room. Be right back. Hold on. I'm back. What's going on, everybody? So, I'm just throwing a wholesale kit together right now. And thought, well, while I'm putting this kit together, I might as well do a little bit of live stream. Open up some Q&A. So, Clarence. Hey, thanks a lot, Clarence. I try my best, man. You guys have any questions, throw them in there in the little chat box. Like, subscribe, share this video. Okay. This is the 144 1/3 swirl. This is going out today. How did I get started? I used to be a personal trainer, and this is Clarence. Obviously, you're the only one on right now. I used to be a personal trainer, and if you know anything about personal training, it's really kind of like a luxury type of thing. You know, I would say mostly it's something a lot of rich people like to get trainers. I had clients that were not so rich, but that's how personal training started. Was with rich people would hire people to help them get in shape, and so basically that's what I used to do. I was a personal trainer, and during the housing crash, when the housing crash came, I had clients that were just dropping off left and right because people were losing their homes. And so then I quickly realized, here it is. You have a $50 session here. You're making, $50 per hour from rich clients who have the money to afford that, and all of a sudden, they just start dropping off, and you start losing clients because when the economy goes down, or like for example, we were in the recession. I think that was like around 2010, around that time, 2009. When you go into a recession like that, people start cutting back on expenses that they don't need to have, and you don't have to have a personal trainer. I mean, it really is. It's a very luxury type of. It's a luxury expense, and so I was starting to get into the dietary supplement area because I was already in the fitness industry, and I figured, you know what? One of my clients, we actually were producing dietary products, and I figured, well, I need to figure out a way to supplement these $50 an hour sessions that I'm losing. And so I practically went from personal training to becoming a straight up salesman of dietary products. So I was able to replace and actually exceed what I was making as a personal trainer, because here it is, when you're in sales, and let's say for instance, if you wholesale to different stores or distributors, this is money that once you establish an account, like a wholesale account or something like that with distributors, and you accumulate enough of that over time, you know, that becomes, I believe that to be a lot more stable. Um, then here it is. You know, your entire livelihood rests on a luxury item that people don't really need, and that would be the first thing that people cut when expenses start getting really tight. So, along with the dietary supplements, I started selling. I was introduced to the oils, and I started to sell the oils. And you know, what made me really pay attention to the oils was the fact that here it is. Um, you know, I'd have a car expense or a car repair that had to be made. Here it is. You all of a sudden you get an unnecessary expense of like $500-600. And if your income is limited, that can be for some, that can be an expense that can really be detrimental to someone. And so what made me pay attention to the oils was the oils were allowing me to make a sale, enough sales, let's say, for instance, in a day or in a week, to cover unnecessary, or should I say not unnecessary, unexpected expenses, like let's say like a $600 or $700 car repair. And so at the time I was partnered up with this attorney, and we were designing dietary supplements together. And I had learned a lot about sales through him, and I give him credit for that. However, it was his company. It was not my company. I didn't have any stakes in the company. And then and I realized that. And so I figured, you know what? There's a saying in business, or there's a saying in sales, in the entrepreneur community, mind your own business. And I have a family member that I try to remind him all the time of that, because he worked for someone right now. And this is just a small piece of friendly advice I would advise those who do work for someone, is to always mind your own business. Because at the end of the day, your employer is minding their own business. And if they can find a cheaper, more inexpensive way to replace you, they will do it in a heartbeat without even caring about you. They really will not care about you. I mean, we already hear of stuff that's going on with artificial intelligence and whatnot, and it has yet to be completely unrolled out into the public. But I think everybody, even if you do have a job, you should be minding your own business, and thinking about your own finances for your future, So that's how I ended up getting into the oils. I realized how profitable it was. And so it made me really want to stick with it, because and then also too, I had a lot of friends that were also involved in it, and I have seen the proof. I've seen I've seen other friends who were very successful in their fragrance oil business, So ever since then, I mean, and not only that, it's just I love fragrance. It's one of my passions. So let me tell you guys what's going out today. Hot Scott. I have smelled many oils from other body oil sellers, and yours are by far the thickest and most uncut oils I have tried. Nice. Hang loose. But let me just tell you guys what's going out today. Since I'm throwing this wholesale kit together, and this is going out, that way you can actually get an idea of actually what's selling. So I've got inspired by Lacoste Eau de Bleu type. That's a men's. That's going out. I've got inspired by Issey Miyake men's type. That's going out. Inspired by Kim Kardashian type. That's going out. Inspired by Pink Privacy. That's going out. Okay. Inspired by Flower Bomb type. That's going out. Inspired by Polo Blue type. That's going out. Inspired by Versace Arrows type. That's going out. Oh, let me see. I'm looking around here. Inspired by Burberry London type is going out. Stephanie, man, let's try to keep it a little PG-13 up in here, okay? I try to keep this family oriented. Let me see what else is going out. Inspired by Polo Blue. Did I say that? Inspired by Cool Water type. Inspired by Dior Sauvage type. Inspired by Bond Number 9, New Harlem type. Inspired by Gucci Guilty type. Yes, definitely. I've tried the inspired by. No, not. I've never tried the Night Vision type. I'm gonna have to get my hands on that. Inspired by Love Spell type is going out today. Inspired by La Home YSL type is going out today. Inspired by Paris Hilton type is going out today. Inspired by Platinum Chanel type for men, that's going out today. Inspired by was it the White Oud? I think I might end up doing a kit on that. Just sent out a wholesale kit of that yesterday. Let me know. Any questions? Fragrant Mox. Cool. Keep on with it, man. I tried to I would encourage everybody who's just getting started in this business, whether you buy from me or not, to keep pushing on with it and don't give up, because I've spoken with other new not new but other distributors who actually have storefronts, and one thing that we all agreed is that the longer you stay in this business, whether it's body oils or whether it's incense sticks or incense oils, the longer you stay in it, the better it gets. So I would advise those of you out there who are just starting off on your own, and you know, you're kind of in an unsure situation where you just don't know, you know, should you keep on with it? Should you try to make it into a full-time business? I would highly advise to just keep pushing on with it, especially if it's something that you have a passion for, you know. Stick with it, because the longer you stick with the fragrances, the better the business gets. And you know, I had one guy who I knew was a distributor of the fragrances, and he also said that he had gotten out of this business, and years later people were still hitting him up. So that's another thing that I've seen, is that even when you try to get out of it, people still contact you later. Fragrant Mox, do what I'm doing. You know, it works for me. If it works for me, it'll work for you. So that's how you get people to come to your website, put out YouTube videos. If you sell on different platforms, create business cards or create like little newsletters that you put in the packages. So And I'm not going to say what other platforms, but if you sell on other platforms, you sell fragrances on other platforms, put newsletters or incentives inviting people back to your website. Put out YouTube videos. Put out, get on Instagram Live. Get on Facebook Live. Okay? Hey, Clarence, where did you find my black butter? I'm just curious. Where did you find the review for the black butter? Fragrant Mox, I appreciate it. May Allah bless you and your business and guide you. Ameen. Black butter, by the way, is a very nice one. I got a chance some years back to experience an imported black butter. I don't know if you black butter lovers out there have ever experienced imported black butter, but I've gotten a chance. I had a chance to experience imported black butter, which is it's a very rare thing to see. You know, that's a very inner city type, urban type fragrance that you don't usually see get turned into an import. But I knew a guy that he wouldn't really tell me, but I think what he was doing is he had access to companies overseas in which they were able to take a fragrance and duplicate it into, you know, imported concentrated version, you know. And he was able to get his hands on some imported black butter. I would like to find out. It would be nice to get my hands on a source that I could send off a fragrance that is prominent and get it reduplicated into imported concentrated quality, you know. Because one thing I noticed about some of your imported concentrated fragrances is that people are like in places like Dubai and stuff like that, Bahrain, they're very particular about scents, about fragrances, and they're very picky. They're very picky. If it's a fragrance that smells good, they want it to smell like 10 times stronger. You know, that's just one thing, one of my experiences with dealing with imports. Fragrant Mox, no problem, man. Assalamu alaikum. That's cool. And I've smelled the inspired by pink sugar version that is imported. By the way, I've known people inspired by pink sugar wear as well as a unisex fragrance. You know, if you got any more questions, throw them in the box. Like, subscribe, share. I'm just throwing this wholesale order together. And this is a very easy way to multitask and be able to reach out to my viewers. What are you guys up to? Where are you guys viewing in from? I see I got 10 people watching this video. No one's saying anything. Well, only a few people are saying anything. Where are you guys viewing in from? I print these out on 80 label sheets, as you can see right here. Pro de MCPE. My favorite imported fragrances. White oud. White oud. I would have to say that's it. Followed by Oud Edition. And then after that, followed by Inspired by Invictus type. I really love the Inspired by Invictus imported version. Sean DeMob, 123. Cool. Florida. How's the weather out there? Atlanta. Ryla Body Oils. Ohio. I'm in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. Mr. Anti Everything. Nice. Well, if you're in Ohio, it's probably the weather's probably very similar to how it is here in PA. Trying to think what other favorites among the imports. Those are my tops. Those are my tops. The Oud Isfahan is a real nice one because you don't need too much of that. And Oud Isfahan, you'll get some haters on the Oud Isfahan. That's one thing I've experienced. You're gonna have lovers and haters with Oud Isfahan. I've had a majority of people like go nuts over the Oud Isfahan, but I've had some people that smell it and are like, they know they want. It's like they know they want to compliment it, because it's like it kind of like dwarfs. It kind of dwarfs inferior fragrances, and when they smell it, it's like they know they want to compliment it, but the compliment kind of comes off as kind of like it's almost kind of like a jealousy, like hate. You know what I'm saying? And that's been my experience. But overall, like Oud Isfahan has been one of those fragrances. Um, Mr. Hot Atlanta, how do you prevent your bottles from leaking after you tighten them when you ship, so the labels don't get wet and fade or come off? Um, well, first of all, I would advise getting a laser printer because when you print your labels, don't use inkjet. Don't use inkjet printers. When you use a laser printer, um, you know the the fragrance, the text is burnt into the paper. It's burnt in versus printed on. Inkjet with inkjet, you're putting a liquid down on paper, and that's what causes it to smear. But if you are going to use inkjet, that's why I advise you tape over the label to create kind of like a lamination over your labels. And I do that anyway, even with the ink with the laser printer. You know, most selling fragrance imported and designer type. Um, Biggest seller on the import side, White Oud. White Oud is probably the biggest seller on the imported side. On the domestic side, on the designer type side, that's a good question because on the designer side, I have to look it up because that changes periodically. You know, it really does. It changes, I think, by season, and I have to kind of like look into my back end to find out uh, which which one is selling the most. You know, the best Zaid, the best spicy fragrance, sweet spice or a musky spice. Uh-oh. I don't think I printed enough. Hi, it's Scott. Honey nut musk and white oud are my favorite. Yep. Chavez, how's it going, man? Inspired by Dior Sauvage. Very nice. The very in between. And I would even say there are some sweet notes in that. Better oil burners. I think I think oil burners. I think they're all good. You know, um, I think all of them are good. But however, for safety, in terms of safety, I think the electric ones are the way to go. You know, just because if you leave fire burning and you got kids and stuff like that in the house, um, that can be a safety hazard. Never purchased anything from Professor Smellgood. I know who he is, but I've never purchased anything from him. Darn it. I hate that when I print a whole sheet of labels and then I miss one bottle. Does it make the car smell good? Rhinos are vegan. Um, to make the car smell good, hold on one second. Um, there's a few things. You can have the air freshener, right? And then sometimes what I like to do is what you do is you get a concentrated pack of the incense sticks, and this is from what customers have told me in the past that they did. Is they'll get a concentrated pack of fragrances or incense sticks, and they'll just leave it in the car, and it'll permeate. And then one thing that I like to do is I'll get one of my favorite oils. Uh, I'll get a little container, and I'll drop the oil out, like crumble up toilet paper, stick it in the container, and just pour oil over it and slide it under the car seat. In the summertime, it will make the whole entire car smell good. Those are some things that you can try. Um, my all-time favorite fragrance in stock. That's a hard one because I don't have just one favorite. I have multiples, but my go-to is going to be White Oud again. Just because it's just a very unique fragrance. Um, how long will it last when you put it under the seat? It depends on what you're putting under the seat. You know, but I would say honestly, like a few days, it'll be in there. If you put it in or you can not just use toilet paper, but also like a rag, like an old rag. You just drizzle some of the oil over that rag and stick it under that seat, kind of out of sight. So now you don't have oil getting on the carpets or anything like that. And that's another way to do it. I can't wait till this weather heats up. Pro Day MCPE. Let me see. Hold on. The I was smelling my clothes because I had these clothes on for a little while. The white oud, I would say the white oud lasts all day long. Like what I do is I put it on my hands and then I'll rub it on my clothes. I'll rub it in my beard like this, and it lasts all day. A green African musk. Is it thick or not? Rhinos are vegan. Is the African green musk thick, or is it thin? I know, but I'm saying, is the consistency thick, or is it like a thinner fragrance? By the way, a thick fragrance doesn't necessarily make the fragrance a stronger fragrance. I don't know why people tend to get that confused, and they think that just because a fragrance is thicker, that for somehow it's just a better quality, and that's not always the case. You know, uh, especially when you're talking like domestic synthetic fragrances, those thickeners are added to make a fragrance thick. Oh, nice. Yeah, one thing that I've learned about Egyptian musk, rhinos are vegan, is Egyptian musk. Egyptian musk tends to be, it's got like some, it kind of reminds me of honey. Like, one way you can tell real honey from fake honey is real honey will crystallize. And Egyptian musk is the same way, actually. Even though it's not a food product, I know it's not. But real honey will crystallize, and also real Egyptian musk also crystallizes. Once I get to the end of to the bottom of the container, you'll see some crystallization going on. Zay, I don't think I don't think a fragrance does get thick after it ages. It depends. It depends on what kind of fragrance it is, in my opinion. Like if it's a pure fragrance, like a pure oud essential oil, because that's what pure oud is. It's technically an essential oil. Um, I would tend to think that fragrances like that would get thicker over time. However, like the domestic scents, the synthetic domestic scents that I sell, um, they will get thick in the cold, and then when you get it back in the heat, it will loosen up and get thin again. Chavez, you said, do I prefer imported types? Yeah, I would say so. I mean, I wear the inexpensive ones that are not imported. I do wear those, but if I'm trying to make a good impression, my go-to is going to be the imported, without a doubt. You know, if I'm trying to make a good impression, and however, I was wearing the inspired by Jean Paul Gaultier. Um, Once I was wearing that out in public, and that actually generated a $60 sale one time. Um, just wearing that in public. Somebody was curious, and the guy became a very consistent customer after that. So some of your basic domestic fragrances uh, sometimes can be really nice go-tos, that you really just can't discount and just throw it off like that, like it's not really important. You know what I mean? Like Pink Privacy, for example, was another one. That one moves out pretty quick. I can't keep that in stock. It goes out real fast. But yeah, my go-to is always going to be imported. Rhino's a vegan. You said best type of material to use for an oil burner because the electric burner burn the oil to the dish. Now it's stuck and sticky. I don't know. Maybe go and see if you can get an adhesive remover or something to get your burner unstuck. Maybe try something like that or something to thin it out. Like I don't know, nail polish remover or some alcohol. I don't know. Try it out, or just get a new oil burner. Oil burners tend to be pretty cheap, though. You know, I mean, you can get an oil burner at the dollar store for a buck. Inspired Pastor Jack, inspired by Armani Eau de Aromes, is a very good men's cologne, and it's not, and it is a loud, and it's not. It is loud. I think he meant loud, and it's not that thick, but it does smell good. I've never smelled that one before. Zaid, are you? Zaid, I have the capability. I go through contract manufacturers. I don't have an actual facility myself, but I go through contract manufacturers sometimes. And yes, I can ship to India. I can ship worldwide. However, unfortunately, and this is nothing personal against you, but I deal with a lot of scammers on a daily basis. India tends to be one of them. Nigeria is another scam country, unfortunately, that I don't ship to. You know, um, but I have different terms for shipping to places like India or Nigeria or other high risk countries. Hey Chavez, no problem, man. No problem. Clarence, yeah, you throwing some real new names at me, man. I haven't smelled the one that you just mentioned. Zay, you said take bank transfer payment first. I've never I've never tried that method for for foreign countries, but I don't know. I mean, how secure is that? Yeah, rhinos are vegan. You got the worst one I've ever seen, and I think Vice put even made a documentary on this, which was Nigeria. Um, I mean, there's literally people there like doing scamming is like as if it's like a dignified business. You know what I'm saying? Like almost like they're ITs. You know, and it's always these sir, madam letters that you get. You know of how you had some king or something or royalty in your family. And you need to transfer money and all this nonsense. Pro day MCPE. I really don't know, man. I really don't know. I just kind of I don't really go by what I make in a day. I kind of go by what I make in a month. You know what I'm saying? I don't really keep track of that kind of stuff. If I'm shipping to, like, let's say India, Zaid, I will take Western Union, you know, and I will ship via FedEx or UPS, because FedEx or UPS are in those countries, and they will actually deliver the package to your doorstep and make sure that you sign for the package. Whereas if I ship through, let's say, the post office, USPS, um, once it leaves the US, you're not able to track, or so they say that they're not able to um, track it up to the doorstep of that foreign country. You know, so, and unfortunately, it's just very expensive to send like that. You know, Western Union, and then sending via FedEx or UPS, just because uh, I guess they chart the rates are just higher than the post office. You know. Thanks a lot, AH. I have the oud, not the 100% pure oud. It has some oud in there, but most of the ouds that I have are blends. Yeah, pro day MCPE. I have no idea how the white oud is made. I just sell it, man. Oil burner versus incense. Rhinos are vegan. If uh if you burn the incense sticks, the incense sticks, obviously you're gonna smell a little bit of smoke. And but if you have like let's say if it's a wood pulp incense stick, you're gonna smell the smoke more. You're gonna smell a wood smoke more. Now let's say if you have a charcoal incense stick, it's just gonna be a cleaner burn. You're not gonna smell the wood smoke as much with the fragrance. And I like both. I mean, I do like to actually smell like the wood pulp burn, over the charcoal. But charcoal sticks I think are a lot more durable than the wood pulp, you know. And the oil burners, you're just smelling the fragrance, just like you would smell it as if you put it on. So that would say that's the difference. When you burn it in the oil burner, it's almost like putting it on your skin. You smell exactly what's in that bottle. You know, I would say the domestic fragrances I sell more, and that's just because I would say more of a cost thing. That's just what some people can afford sometimes. Anyways, if there's any more questions, I'm going to be wrapping this up so I can finish this up. Yeah, rhinos are vegan. You may want to switch to an oil burner. I also have access to the um, essential oils, the Young Living essential oils, which is separate from the extravagant fragrances. It's a separate business, and sometimes I actually use a essential oil diffuser. You put the essential oil in the water, and you diffuse it right inside your house, you know, and that it's actually not going to harm your eyes. Kimberly Klein, I don't know because Blunt Power is a different company. Every company has their own secrets. You know what I'm saying on how they make their own stuff. Um, but one thing I will say is I know some companies. I mean, they will um, they will just put the concentrated industrial fragrance in a bottle and then call it a concentrated oil air freshener. You know that I do know, but I don't know what Blunt Power does. I can only speak for other companies that I know. And as far as like what I do is I use surfactant because some people don't like the oil stuff. They don't like slippery spray inside their car. So the surfactant it breaks down the oil in such a way that when you spray it, it doesn't leave an oily residue. It's a weaker it's a weaker air freshener, but you know there's no oil, there's no slipperiness. Yeah, Pastor Jack, I'll let you know, man, because I'm kind of changing addresses right now. Kimberly Klein, no problem. Do you are you into handcrafted type of things? Rhinos are vegan, no problem. Pro Day MCP. If you if you put one drop of white oud, man, you're set. That's actually a lot, I think. You're set. That's enough to for sure last the whole day. That's a real strong fragrance. Terry D. Um, yeah, man. If you want to review the Inspired by Dolce Gabbana type, um, go to my website, extravagantfragrances.com. Hold on a second. Have you ever tried any of my fragrances before? Like Kimberly Klein, I think that's a really good idea. Terry D, I just sent you the link right now. I think that's a clickable link. Yeah, it is. It's a clickable link. No problem, Terry. Um, oh, hold on a second. Yeah, Kimberly, I think that's a great idea. getting supply shops, barber shops. Don't forget hair salons. Um, I know retired people that actually do that. They go to your barber shops, they go to hair salons during prime time, let's say on a weekend when people are gone, they're getting their hair done, they're getting haircuts and whatnot. They like to do that kind of stuff. Pro MD, Pro D MCP, Japanese amber is a really good fragrance, but no, I don't think it's as good as white oud. I mean, I'm just being honest. I don't think it's as good as white oud. It's a good fragrance. Don't get a twist. I mean, for an inexpensive fragrance, it's got some hang time to it. But no, I would I would layer the two together and wear it like that though. I think they do make good layers, you know. But as far as hang time, um, white oud is going to outlast. I think. Kimberly Klein. What? What? I don't understand. Are you telling me that's what you're doing? Or are you telling me that that's what I should do? Yeah, Pro MD, MCPE. Definitely, definitely, those would smell good, and I actually highly recommend it. I've tried it before. I've smelled it. That's a good combination. If you ever want to upgrade any fragrance, actually, I think white oud is a good one to layer with any fragrance, or most fragrances, should I say? You know, um, some other greatest of all time fragrances. Um, trying to think. Oud edition. Oud Isfahan. I keep going back to the same ones. Those are it, in my opinion. I really think those are it. It's just um, I put it out there and let people decide, you know. But I think the reason what can stop a fragrance from getting traction, especially if you sell online, is the fact that people don't. Sometimes people don't really even know what it is. So when you do recommend it, um, you know, it's just a matter of trust. You know what I'm saying? But I have found that some fragrances, when you recommend it, people will it'll catch traction because people already have tried it somewhere else or they're familiar with it, and that sometimes is what helps a fragrance become a great fragrance, you know, or catch traction. So, Chavez, cool man. Thank you for your support, by the way. Give me a second, folks. Oh, oh. Got any more questions? Put them in the question box. I'm back. Walaikum salam, Ayub. Pro MD It really depends, man, on how fast I'm moving. You know what I'm saying? It really depends. If I'm putting, or taking my time, it all depends. I don't really know. Kimberly, yeah. This is a full time. What do you do full time, Kimberly? And Pro MD what do you do full time? Ayub, I would probably say Facebook. From my experience, I would probably say Facebook and YouTube are going to be some of the best ways to spread your fragrance business. That's a good idea, Kimberly. Pro MDECP. I think that's a good idea, especially if it's something that you feel like you have a passion for. You know. And back to the wholesale thing, it also depends really on how big is the wholesale kit. I've never actually clocked. You know, because I have different size wholesale kits that I sell. How was the pipeliner? How was that work? Did you like it? What all did you have to do every day? Hey, Ayub, I really don't know because I stick to oils. Um, and I think in UK, I think what's going on there's an innovation in the fragrance industry, especially with your Arabian countries, because they are. I have seen that they are doing a lot of sprays now, especially with the ouds. And they have found a way to make a spray, from what I was told, that doesn't actually contain alcohol. I don't know what it is that they use. I forget what it's called. Family's very important, bro. Very important, man. You know, you gotta put your family first. So, my best advice though, if you are looking to get into the fragrance business, and that would be to start off with a kit. That's how I started off. Start off with a small kit like this one right here. 144. You get 144 one-third bottles for 235, free shipping within the United States. Okay. And if you work a full-time job, um, do it around your full-time job until you outgrow your full-time job. And one big piece of advice that I can give, and this is just from what I've seen, is to, if you can get a physical storefront, that's even better. That's even better because people are people are bigger impulse buyers when they can go up to the fragrance and smell it. People spend more in person, you know? Yeah, I know I was saying the same thing. It's actually good because I really don't like alcohol sprays, but I have smelled one of those sprays from overseas, like an oud spray, and you can't smell any alcohol in it. It's really interesting, and I think that's you have some schools of thought that say that it's forbidden and stuff like that, or you shouldn't put alcohol on your skin. So I think that's part of the reason why some of your Middle Eastern companies are switching to a spray that actually doesn't have alcohol in it. So are you in the business already, Ayub? Are you already selling fragrances? What do you do? Are you there? Did you fall asleep, Ayub? Anyways, yeah, I have no idea what that is, man. There is a oh, for those of you who are fanatics about oud, they may have this in the UK. I think they do have it in the UK. What's going on, Demetrius? Demetrius? Um, I think they have it. Correct me if I'm wrong, Ayub. I think you're in the UK. But I know in New York City, they opened up the first Arabian oud outlet in New York. I think it's in Times Square. Don't you guys have that in the UK? If you go to one of those outlets, I'm sure, because I'm sure they sell sprays. Um, but you know that maybe they might be able to tell you what's in it. But yeah, I don't know exactly what it is. I just know it doesn't smell like alcohol. But sprays seem to be becoming very popular lately. Inshallah, Ayu. Stick with it, man. Write a plan out on how you can sell your fragrances. You know, um, and specifically, like, don't sleep on don't sleep on individual distributors, man. That's also a really good way to build a business, is like one on one, like friends and stuff like that. Because that's actually how I got in. I didn't go online and search for a kid or anything. I actually, it was a brother at the masjid. Literally after Jummah, after the Friday prayer, he was walking around with, a printed catalog of his fragrances, and just was cold hitting all the brothers, saying, "Hey, I have this business for 200 and something dollars. I can start your business. You can start your business today." And I don't know how many brothers actually bought into the business, but I know I did that day. And I think it was one of the best decisions I ever made. And for the first, I would say almost like the first few months, I had no idea what I was doing. I didn't know how to sell them. Um, the brother that got me into the business already was well established, making really good money. Um, but if there's one piece of advice that I can give you, Ayub, and anybody else listening, is that one thing that I would learn if I, to help in your fragrance business is like actually purchase, like go online and purchase um, sales courses, like how to sell. You know, like um, Zig Ziglar has some audiobooks, like the art of selling or something like that, and and he actually teaches, like it's a real skill, like how to close the deal, how to close the sale. And that's one really good big piece of advice that I could give. If you plan on selling oils, it really helps. Can you do a different combination with oud, goss, shake? I'm not quite sure what you mean by that. Can you do a different combination? Oh, the best natural oil blend with oud? I don't know, man. I don't know. The ouds that I have, I know for sure they're not 100% natural. I mean, I know there's some natural oud in there, but I don't really know what they're blended up with. Yeah, Ayub, go and check it out, man. Check out the Arabian oud, and if they tell you what's in it, let me know. Demetrius, nice. So that's the way you do it, man. Friends and family. And that's the thing is, if you have a unique fragrance that only you have, people keep coming back, especially if the fragrance becomes their favorite fragrance. You know, you'll be that go-to guy that has that particular fragrance that they want to keep wearing, because people build memories around fragrances. The big companies know it, but fragrances build nostalgic memories, if that's the correct term. They build nostalgic memories. And that's really what people are paying for at the end of the day. And that's whether it's a $5 fragrance or a $100 fragrance. People are paying for those memories. Um, that's really what they're paying for. They're paying for memories, and they're paying for the impression that they give out, the impression that they were able to create on a particular person. That's what people pay for. Um, Gosh, shake the Bakor. I Jeremy and Christina, man, you guys are very loyal customers, man. And I really appreciate it. Bam, going out today. I promise you. Okay, I promise. And also, the freebie that I mentioned, the Bakor. I would really like to get my hands on some wholesale Bakor. You know, Piyush. Alhamdulillah, I'm doing good. How about yourself? No problem, Jeremy. Thank you. Give me 1 second. Oh boy. Kimberly, what were you saying about Nimat? I have some of their fragrances, by the way. Nimat's fragrance, some of their fragrances are good. One fragrance of theirs that I like is the Superior Egyptian Musk. Um, what else? The Indian Mukullet of theirs is very good. I really like that fragrance. And that fragrance, again, going back to those nostalgic memories, I first ran into the Indian Mullet some years ago during like a Ramadan iftar. And the brother gave it to me as a gift. And I felt like, man, I felt like he just dropped a nugget of gold in my hand just because of that fragrance. And I had always wondered where he got that fragrance from. And then when I got into the business later and realized that it was an Imat Mullet, I still have some of it. It's a very good quality. I like the Mullet that they have. Um, it reminds me of something that you would wear at a social gathering that would set a good tone. You know, in terms of the quality, I think the quality is good. I think their quality is good. I'll be honest with you. That's kind of like a step up. Like if you don't know anything about imported oils, I think that's a step up from the domestic oils. The Indian Shamama, that's another good seller. It's kind of died down a little bit. Kush, I have tried Kush. However, I don't know about. I've tried different types of Kush before. Like I've tried one Kush that was like a really actually like a pure essential oil Kush. That someone gave me a swipe of once, but Nimat's Kush, I was not really a big fan of that one. I like their Indian Mullet. I like their superior Egyptian musk. I even like their regular Egyptian musk. And actually, their regular Egyptian musk is not really even thick. But I like that one. It is a nice one. And I have quite a few of their fragrances that I haven't even put up on the website yet. I need to get it on the website. How do you like nursing, Kimberly? I think you mentioned that you are a nurse. How do you like it? Don't forget to like, subscribe, share. Wow. Dementia, isn't that, correct me if I'm wrong, but isn't that similar to like Alzheimer's? Doesn't it have to do with like forgetting stuff? I know someone that was in the trauma unit as a nurse. And the first time she saw blood, she fainted. Pro MD MCPE. The first kit, I went door to door, man. I used to go to the gym. That's how I started selling my first kit. I used to go door to door. I used to go to smoke shops because they sell boutique like items as well. So I used to go to smoke shops, and I would go to the gym, and I don't know if you know, but like some gyms have juice bars. Give me a second. Some gyms have juice bars, and at those juice bars, they also sell like toiletry items like towels and soaps and stuff like that. And so I realized, well, if you're selling soap and towels and deodorant and stuff like that, why not? Like, why wouldn't they want to pick up some fragrances? So that's one thing that I highly recommend is if you live in an area where there's a juice bar at the gym, those juice bars most of the time are private owned. So, the owner always wants to make sure they're able to keep the lights on and pay for their overhead. And so if you can get a small rack, like the 25 bottle rack that I offer on the website, they don't take up a lot of space. And I think juice bars are a really great idea. It works. I've tried it in the past. It really does work because a little small rack is a really quick and easy way to get into a juice bar and have them as an account. I mean, give them a few fragrances or even say, you know what, how about this? We do a consignment the first go around, even though I'm not a big fan of consignment, but it's a really fast way to get in. And you say, hey, listen, here's a consignment. I'm going to put 25 bottles with a sign. You do a little laminated display sign on the back. And it's putting the price of the bottle, and that way when the customer comes up to the juice bar, they see your fragrances on the front. And once the juice bar owner starts seeing that your fragrances are selling, then you make the agreement that, okay, after the first rack is gone, then let's make an agreement that we move past consignments. And then you just keep purchasing them from me. And that's a really quick and easy way to get into juice bars. I've done it before. So Kimberly, yeah. It's another form of mental illness. Yeah, unfortunately, I've dealt with people in the past who have had family members who are mentally ill. And as a personal trainer, and I was like that escape for some of my clients who had mentally ill family members. I had one client whose aunt who had Alzheimer's, and there was times that she would come in and she wouldn't even recognize her own niece, But it takes a lot of, from what I've seen, it takes a lot of special care and patience to be a nurse. Not just anybody can be a nurse. You got to be a real empathetic person to be in the nursing field. Am I right or wrong? The cosmetic lipstick organizer. I don't even know where to get those. I think I've seen what you're talking about before, Kimberly, but I've never I had tried to find those before, but I cannot find them. And yes, I do ship. I do ship the racks overseas. The racks that I have, they're only designed for the 6 ml roll-on or the 1/3, the 10 ml roll-on. And for the swirl bottles, I have to get a different rack for that because swirl bottles have a different thickness than the plain. Anyways, if you guys have any more questions, you can always email me. Right here, I'll put my email in. We're going on about an hour and 19 minutes, and I have to get going, everybody. I hope you like this live stream, and hopefully I'll be back with some more. Take care, everyone.